Alright, so we're down here in the shop. We got a few things to go over. And got the fan going because it's still abnormally warm. And so that noise you hear, and you can see it turning right there, that's the fan. We're going to go over a few things, where we're at, and some other stuff. So first, let me tell you something that I just found out. So some of you probably watched my video on the Knox trailer out here. And I found out from a commenter on that video, and this is breaking news. I didn't know. I had no idea. All right, I had no clue. I'd never occurred to me before. Apparently, I'm fat. I didn't know it. I'm freaking blown away. I'm 30 years old. This whole time, my entire life, I was under the impression that I had a freaking six-pack. So, this is news to me. It's very troubling. I had no idea. So, apparently my breathing was loud in that last video, and that's disturbing to some people. Apparently me breathing is problematic, which is rather fitting, honestly. I've kind of received that in the past. But what's worth noting is, people don't have any idea what the hell I'm doing before I start filming a video. In that case, I drug one of those trailers by hand all the way around the house. Had done some other work, and then immediately turned on the camera. I was already hot, already out of breath. It was like almost 90 degrees, and I started filming. And yeah, I am fat. You're right. But it turns out anybody that exerts themselves will breathe heavier. So, yeah, I'm sorry for breathing, I guess is what I'm saying. F me for breathing air. But anyway, on to more important things. The Dauntless. What is happening to the Dauntless? Any of y'all that's been watching this channel knows that I've been working on this Dauntless swap on and off for the last couple years, year and a half, whatever. And we made some pretty good progress here this year. A few months ago, getting the Dauntless put into the Willys over here behind me. And we were in the home stretch, quite honestly. And then we ran into a clutch issue. Well, as you know, I pulled this engine out, was going to see if I couldn't figure out what's going on with the clutch. Me and my brother were able to figure out what exactly it is, but the problem is there doesn't appear to be a straightforward remedy to that problem. So, let me try the best I can to explain it to you. It's kind of hard to do, and I actually don't even have the pressure plate, the old or the new one, with me right now, but I do have this old pressure plate, which is off of a Dauntless, off of the other Dauntless, and so we can use it to maybe explain what's happening. This is a Borgenbeck 3-finger plate, pressure plate. This came on a lot of the Dauntlesses. I think it was standard from what I've read on the Dauntless in 1971. Older Dauntlesses had a diaphragm style clutch, a GM, pretty much a standard small block Chevy diaphragm clutch. This engine's a 67, so that means they didn't have the earlier style. So the one that came off this engine when I first got it was a diaphragm. It was not a 3-finger. That really doesn't matter. Alright. I'll bring you in a little bit closer so maybe you can see a little better. I'm trying to get, if I get a little bit farther away, the lighting is a little better. I'm having issues with light in here. Let me bring it down. We'll see if we can't get something explained that might make a little bit of sense. It's doubtful, but maybe we can. Alright. So, if I can get my chair to roll, to doesn't appear it's going to let me. I bought a brand new clutch kit from Jeepster Man about a year, probably a year and a half ago or so. So I never anticipated having any issue with this situation. I bought the brand new clutch kit. It was a diaphragm style, just like the one that came off this engine. And I had no reason to suspect that I'd have any problems. Now, I want to preference this with saying that I don't believe that this is anything to do with Jeepster Man's parts quality or anything like that. I think it's, from what I can tell, is there's parts being manufactured. What little bit is being manufactured for this engine as far as clutches are concerned is being manufactured incorrectly. It's not unique to Jeepster Man, is what I'm saying. I've bought parts in the past from Jeepster Man. I've been very pleased with Jeepster Man's customer service and his parts that he sells, so I don't have, this isn't me bashing him, is what I'm trying to say. But it is an issue, at least for me it is. So, imagine that this is a diaphragm pressure plate. Alright, just forget that this is 3-finger. I don't have the new diaphragm pressure plate because I took it to a clutch shop to have them look at it, so I don't actually have it back right now. But anyway, the original diaphragm that came off this engine, this pressure ring right here, sat deeper into this housing than the new diaphragm pressure plate. Alright, so the original diaphragm on this one, it sat recessed deeper below these mounting bolts, mounting points here, than the new one did. Now, what that means is when I took the new diaphragm pressure plate that I got from Jeepster Man, when I bought it, and I put it on here, cleaned all this up and everything, put my tool in there, okay, put my clutch plate on, the disc, and then when I put my pressure plate on, because that pressure ring is not recessed the same amount of distance that the original pressure plate was, that meant, I'll try to turn it where you can see it, that meant that my pressure plate was starting about right in here. Alright, which means when I tightened it down, it compressed the clutch, it compressed the fingers on the diaphragm basically all the way, which means that I had no clutch actuation. Now, when me and my brother put that new diaphragm on a while back, we discussed that it looked like there was something wrong with it, but we weren't entirely sure because it was brand new. It came from a specialty parts dealer that specializes in things to do with Jeepsters, which ran this engine, and so we never thought that it would be an issue. Well, when we put it in the truck, we found out it's a damn issue. And what that means is that when we hooked up our linkage, we had no clutch movement. None. Not a little bit. None. Okay? Turns out you need to be able to actuate this chicken shit right here in order for a clutch to really do its clutching, you know. So, when we took it all back apart, my brother and I noticed that this pretty substantial difference in where this pressure ring was located on the new diaphragm clutch or pressure plate as compared to the old diaphragm pressure plate. That's the difference. So at that point, we took the new clutch disc, left it on. We took the original diaphragm style clutch or pressure plate, and we put it on there just to see how it would set. And I'm just using this as an example, alright, because I don't have the other one right now. When we put it on there, it was a lot closer to where it should be, about like it should, like about probably 1/8 of an inch from the flywheel. So when you tightened it down, it would have probably worked fine. The issue is that the original pressure plate is worn out and in overall pretty bad condition. So we took this situation to a local clutch man not far from where I live who has been doing clutches for 41 years, and told him the situation and gave him the two pressure plates, the old diaphragm and the new diaphragm, and the brand new clutch disc, and asked him to look at it. He looked at it. He calls my brother back up and tells him he looked at it and there's nothing wrong with it. At which point my brother says, well, yes, there is something wrong with it because, it won't actuate. The clutch man says, no, it's fine. My brother says, well, yeah, but it's not fine. And the clutch man says, well, I mean, it will move a very, this is his words, an extremely minute amount, but it moves enough to release. Therefore, it's fine. My brother says, well, it will not move. In our application on our engine, it's not moving at all. None. And he just argued vehemently back and forth because he's apparently uninterested in doing his job. So he said that he mounted it on a jig that he has in there so he can see if things actuate, and he said it just barely moved, but it did move. He wouldn't listen to anything that my brother tried to tell him. I was at work, so I didn't get to talk to this guy. He wouldn't listen to anything my brother tried to tell him. Wouldn't listen. He just says it's fine, even though we know that it's not fine. And if it was fine, we wouldn't be in this situation. So, and what's funny is he even acknowledged that it would just literally barely move. All right. So, I'm amazed that he would even could get it to move at all, because I pushed on the pedal in there, and you could watch the bell crank move. My brother was watching while I was pushing on. You could see it move up. Things are moving. And all that movement was taking up the slack that's just naturally in your adjustment for your throw-out bearing. It took that up, and then it just stops like you're pulling against a steel I-beam driven into concrete. And then when you look at the two diaphragm pressure plates, especially if you hold them on edge like this, you notice immediately that the pressure ring is dramatically more recessed in the original than in the new one. At this point, I went over to Napa. They showed that they had two different clutch kits for a Dauntless V6. I called them. They laughed at me over the phone and said that they couldn't get those, and they haven't been able to get those in years. From that point, I went to O'Reilly's. They had a clutch kit known as a Power Torque. I went over there and bought it. It was $180. It's exactly the same as the one I got from Jeepster Man. And that's why I say I don't think this is anything specifically wrong with Jeepster Man. I think it's wrong with the parts suppliers. They're making shit that does not work. Alright? I'm not trying to blame him or O'Reilly's. They can't help it that their manufacturers over in Southeast Asia will not replicate the part correctly. So that leaves us in a conundrum. There's only a handful of clutches available for this engine, and so far 100% of them are wrong. Allegedly, you can't rebuild a diaphragm clutch pressure plate. I don't know if that's true or not, but allegedly you cannot. You can rebuild a 3-finger style. So, I might end up having to have this one rebuilt and trying to use it. Now, I didn't really want to use a 3-finger style for a lot of different reasons. So, there's also the option of allegedly this is the same clutch kit that was on an early small block Chevy in the 60s. So I could probably try to order a clutch kit for like a small block 307 or maybe a 327 or something, and see if it'll fit. See if its pressure ring is recessed more. There's also rumors that that there's other clutches available. I have not been able to find them. So this is where we're at on the Dauntless. It's very disheartening. Um, Extremely disheartening, because I had intended on having this almost buttoned up by this point, and I was well on my way to that. But then things have gotten shitty on me here, so it's disheartening, is what I'm trying to say. And mainly what I want you to take away from this, good subscribers and non-subscribers on the Reckless Traveler channel, what I want you to take away from this is what owning a vintage vehicle is. This is what it's like. You're gonna have weird things that you would never imagine be an issue become a pretty serious issue. I never for a moment thought that the clutch kit would be what stopped me from getting this done. I thought that it would be, number one, money, running out of money. Number two, I thought I might have some issues with how I was going to run the exhaust. I thought I might have issues with how the truck steered after I got it in there. I need to align the truck. I figured that would be an issue, trying to make sure I got it aligned exactly right. I was worried about all that. I never once for a second considered that I would have trouble with the clutch of all things. My brother's changed a lot of clutches. I've been around clutches when they're changed. They're pretty damn straightforward. They're not excessively complicated. There's not really a whole hell of a lot going on here. Alright, you got the disc, the throw-up bearing pushes here, it pushes the clutch, it disengages the clutch. It's really not, we're not working on Apollo 11 here to allegedly go to the moon. Alright, that's not what we're doing. Alright? What I'm saying is even though I'm kind of somber and melancholy right now, what I want you to take away from this is part of it. You have to accept it. Alright? If you think that you're going to buy some shitty old Jeep or old Willys or CJ5 or Jeepster Commando or something, and you think that you're going to just drive that thing every day, it's going to be just sunshine and rainbows and unicorn farts and all that. It's not. It's going to be a lot of this. It's going to be a lot of trying to find quality reproduction parts. It's going to be parts suppliers having parts, but maybe they're on the back order. It's going to be parts suppliers saying they have parts, but they don't have them anymore. It's going to be a lot of stuff like that. Alright? You're going to run into situations where parts you buy are just not any good because the specs they're billing to are inaccurate, or they're just wrong. I've run into that. And this isn't just on old vehicles, it's on new vehicles. I bought a brand new AC compressor the other day for my 90s model Chevrolet, and it was shit straight out of the box. Brand new. It's not unique to old stuff, but it is exasperated to some extent with old stuff. You have to be willing to accept that. It is worth it. It is. I have to tell myself this all the time because, I see these other people and they're into other things that the Reckless Traveler are not into. And they appear to be much happier than me, and they're out there living their best life, as the kids say. And sometimes I wish that was me, but then I remember that all that shit that they're into, these BMWs and all this crap, it sucks. That's the problem with it. It sucks. So then I remember, wait a minute, I like this old shit. It's worth it. Then I'm back to happy again. All right. What I'm saying is if you've got a Dauntless and you're talking about doing a swap, or maybe you've just got a CJ5 or a Jeepster Commando, if you've got a clutch that you know will work, you probably should buy a couple of them if you can buy them and keep them on the shelf. If you have a clutch that you've used on your Dauntless that you know is available and I haven't been able to find it, please tell me in the comments, because this is screwing me into the ground. It's really holding up the operation here. Right now, this is the only thing that's keeping me from basically bolting the fenders and stuff back on the Willys over here. This is the hang up. So you got a $200 parts kit holding up thousands of dollars in the badassest Willys truck this side of the Mississippi. So, I don't want you to be disheartened by this. I'm trying to tell you that this is the life when you work on anything that's old. It's going to be harder to get things for. Lots of times. They didn't make this engine very long. This Dauntless V6 is specific to Jeeps. It's not identical to a Buick V6. It's specific to Jeeps, and they only ran them from about 66 to 71, 72-ish. That's not a long time in the grand scheme of things, and a lot of vehicles that had this engine as an option, a lot of them didn't have one in it when they actually rolled out to the dealership. They were putting a lot of CJ5s, they were putting some CJ6s, they were putting Jeepster Commandos. They didn't make that many of Jeepster Commandos to start with. A lot of them didn't have this engine in them. A lot of CJ5s didn't have this engine in them. Towards the end, the majority of them being produced in like 70 and 71 had this engine in them. But it, in the grand scheme of things, not very many vehicles ever had this engine in them. So it makes it a little bit more of a hassle. We're going to get it figured out. Like I say, there's a couple options. There is one other guy that has parts on there that has supposedly rebuilt clutch kits. I might end up having to buy one from him. I might could buy one from a small block Chevrolet from the early 60s and try that and see what that is. I can have this clutch rebuilt. I can reuse the old diaphragm pressure plate, clean it up real good, and reuse it. And I could have the new pressure plate, the new diaphragm pressure plate. I could have that clutch man, if he's capable of it, turn down that pressure ring. Just to actually take off a layer of it so that it's recessed into the housing enough to where when I put it on, it doesn't fully compress the apparatus. That's also an option. So basically, I gotta wait to get my stuff back from the clutch guy, and then we can go from there and maybe figure out what's going on. But that's where we're at. I've been talking to you a lot about this John Doe, so you've gotten the more detailed version of it. Hopefully me showing you this, demonstrate it more, might make a little more sense from what me and you have been talking about over the phone. But it's unpleasant. But I'm going to we're going to go out here and get something done. I had another project I was working on that was going to put a new radio in my 90s model Chevrolet, my other one. I got two of them. I was going to put a radio in it. Well, for some reason it's not working no matter what. It came on for just a second and then it turned off. So brand new radio, wired up exactly the way that it should be, and it came on and then immediately turned off. So not sure what that's about. I'm not pleased with that, I can tell you that. But we're gonna come out here and we're gonna attempt to do something else. Basically, we're gonna attempt to be productive. If I can get this tripod to cooperate. What we're going to do now is something I wanted to do a long time ago. I'm probably not going to do it the best way, but we're going to do it the way I want to do it. Alright, sorry. I got distracted here for a moment. I've been having to wander around out here and trying to get some stuff figured out and all that. So I'm back now. Anyway, what I was getting at is I meant to do this a long time ago. This connector right here, your power supply that goes into your distributor right here, I just had one of them little, I can't remember the damn name of it. It's just a little clip, and it come off sometimes. I lose power and everything. So I wanted to buy some of these clips like this that actually retain it so it can't come undone. But the reason why I didn't buy them in the past was because they were abnormally expensive. I'm talking these two clips. The last time I priced them were like $70 for these two, for this piece of wire and that clip on the end of it. Well, I priced them again the other day and they come down to like $30. So I went ahead and bought them because I'm trying to remedy all my potential fail points. So now what I'm about to do is I got the soldering iron. Oh, there goes my good shirt. Just tore a hole in it. There we go. About to solder these wires together. And I had to get a whole bunch of extension cords and stuff and get the soldering iron plugged in. Rip a hole in my shirt, stuff like that. Anyway, hopefully this will make this situation a little better. Should make it a little bit more reliable. I'm going to put shrink sleeves on both sides because I'm not sure how I want to do it. I want to make sure this joint's protected very well. So actually I'm going to put 3. I'm going to shrink 2 on and then have 1 over those 2. At least that's what I'm going to try to do. We'll see how it goes. My hands shake a lot. It's probably because I'm fat, as you've noticed. But anyway, we're going to try to do this. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. You probably can't. So let me see. You can kind of see. I'll try to stay out of the way where maybe you can see what I'm trying to do here. But I'm just going to intertwine these wires together. That way they'll kind of hold themselves right there. Then I'm going to try to solder them. Like I say, my hands shake exceptionally bad. They have for most of my life. Doctor says it means I'll either die really young or it's just something in my DNA. So that's always good. He said as long as my head doesn't move by itself, we're probably okay. And I'm not even joking, that's what he said. And then he didn't want to talk about it anymore. So, pretty typical doctor experience is what I'm getting at. Like I say, when I'm on camera and I'm trying to do something that I care about, my hands shake even worse. So that's always good. Anyway, let me get this finished. I've got it attached, but let me get it kind of cleaned up and then I'll come back to you. Anyway, I keep getting distracted. Basically, all I did was solder these two together. My brother showed up and he helped hold the wire steady so my shaking hands, we soldered it together and made it easier, but he just showed up. But anyway, we've got an actual clip on this now for the power source, so we don't have to worry about that coming undone. And I put the extra one in the Jeep so that we don't have to worry about losing it. And if this was to break or something, we can always have one to repair it on the trail. But anyway, I'm gonna figure out the Dauntless situation here, hopefully sooner than later. But I don't know how long this is gonna take. Hopefully it won't take too long, because I want to drive Jubal very badly. But I'll keep y'all up to date. I am the Rake Traveler, and keep on keeping on. And remember, Willys for life. All right, get it.